English with news, Hurricane Milton. Hurricane Milton is currently a major storm impacting areas in the Gulf of Mexico and threatening Florida, which is still dealing with the effects of Hurricane Helene. Milton intensified into a Category 5 hurricane, but has since been downgraded to Category 4, with maximum winds around 145 miles per hour. Florida has already issued evacuation orders for coastal areas, especially around Tampa Bay, where significant storm surges and severe flooding are expected. The hurricane is anticipated to make landfall soon, bringing destructive winds and heavy rain. In preparation, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis declared a state of emergency for 51 counties, suspended tolls, and opened emergency shelters across the state. President Joe Biden has also approved federal assistance for the state. Schools, universities, and major airports, including Tampa International Airport, have temporarily closed in anticipation of Milton's impact. Florida National Guardsmen have been deployed to assist with preparations and potential recovery efforts, and Amtrak has suspended services in several regions of Florida. This hurricane season has been particularly intense, with Milton following closely on the heels of Hurricane Helene, which recently caused widespread damage. Milton's rapid intensification and approach have added strain on federal and state resources, with FEMA stepping in to support local authorities and residents. The storm is expected to bring torrential rain, which could exacerbate river flooding across the affected areas. For further details on the latest updates regarding Hurricane Milton, including its path and projected impact, you can refer to the National Hurricane Center or check live tracking maps on weather platforms like NOAA and the Weather Channel. Hurricane Milton has been compared to Hurricane Helene, which struck just a few weeks earlier. Both hurricanes followed similar paths through the Gulf of Mexico, heading towards the Florida coast, but there are some key differences in their impact and intensity. Hurricane Helene versus Hurricane Milton. Intensity and category. Hurricane Helene made landfall as a strong Category 4 storm, with winds peaking at around 140 miles per hour. It caused significant coastal flooding, high storm surges, and property damage along Florida's western coastline. Hurricane Milton, initially a Category 5 hurricane with maximum sustained winds of 160 miles per hour, weakened to a Category 4 storm as it approached the coast. Despite the downgrade, Milton's winds have been intense enough to cause severe damage to infrastructure and homes. Preparation and evacuations. With Hurricane Helene, Florida residents were given advance notice of the storm's strength and path, leading to widespread evacuations, especially in areas like Tampa Bay and the Keys. Similarly, ahead of Milton, Florida's governor issued evacuation orders for coastal and low-lying areas. Given the proximity of these two hurricanes, some regions had little time to recover from Helene, making preparation for Milton more challenging. Areas like Tampa Bay are facing heightened storm surge threats, prompting even more extensive evacuations. Impact on Florida's infrastructure. Hurricane Helene caused extensive damage to power lines and blocked roads. Several major airports, including Orlando International and Tampa International, were temporarily shut down. Milton has further strained Florida's infrastructure. Major airports in Tampa, Sarasota, and St. Petersburg have been closed in anticipation, with thousands of flights canceled. Additionally, power companies have been working to reinforce the electrical grid, as many areas are still repairing the damage from Helene. Amtrak has suspended services, and various schools and universities remain closed until conditions improve. Federal and state response. During Hurricane Helene, federal aid was quickly approved, with FEMA mobilizing resources to assist affected communities. Florida National Guardsmen were deployed for rescue and cleanup operations. For Milton, the response has been similar, but on a more urgent scale. Federal and state agencies, including the Florida National Guard, have expanded their operations to help with both rescue and recovery. As Milton's impacts are expected to exacerbate damage caused by Helene, President Biden has declared a state of emergency for Florida, facilitating additional federal aid and support. Environmental and economic impact. Hurricane Helene left behind severe environmental damage, with coastal erosion and polluted waters in affected areas. Florida's agriculture sector also experienced significant losses due to flooding. Milton is predicted to worsen the environmental strain. With additional storm surges and flooding, coastal areas are at high risk of further erosion. Milton's impact is expected to compound economic losses, especially in tourism, agriculture, and infrastructure repair. The back-to-back nature of these hurricanes has created a challenging scenario for Florida, with recovery from Helene already underway as Milton hits. Both storms highlight the intensity of this hurricane season and the ongoing need for preparedness and resilience in vulnerable regions. I appreciate your attention.